Welcome back to the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. I'm your host Richard, and here at Coding Fanatic, I help new Android developers grow quickly. If that sounds like content that you are interested in, join the mailing list at codingfanatic.com. Lay of the Lab is a series where I give you guys a look into my laboratory. I highlight the key features of the tools I use for Android development, and I pass my lessons on to you. Picking up where I left off in that Android developers course, I learned how to add an image to an Android app. Now at this stage, the idea was to take the birthday card from last time and add an image for the background. So first thing you do, import a drawable into Android Studio. We covered that. However, I ran into a couple issues once I tried to use this new drawable. For starters, I had to drag an image view into the preview layout in the design view in Android Studio. Now the idea is that I'm adding the resource and I'm picking which drawable I want to use and then shaping it so that I can use it as the background. It sounded pretty straightforward, but I ran into issues the entire way. First off, once I dragged the image view and I picked the Android party image with that little birthday cupcake thing, the image never appeared in Android Studio, so all I saw was a white box. On top of that, when I went into both the design and the code view, I got an error for something about Android Studio not being able to resolve the source name. Now, I thought maybe this was like, oh, you can't use you have to use a real word from some kind of predefined dictionary. So androidparty.png was an inappropriate file name. So I renamed the drawable, and I must have renamed that thing at least 10 times. I tried Android, party, Android _ party, picture. Nothing worked. I tried everything that I could, but for some reason I kept getting this error. However, the app was still able to compile, so no compile error. Hey, no problem with me. Another thing I noticed was even though the Android developer website, it shows that once you import a drawable, you should see a preview of the image as your image view. But I didn't get a preview. All I got was a white box. But either way, I pushed forward and I tried to continue setting it up the way they said to in the tutorial. After this, I added constraints to the image view so that it would touch each part of the screen, or at least it would touch the left and right edges of the layout. So the idea was that in order to use this picture as a background, the constraints would have to make it touch every corner of the screen. However, because of the resolution of the photo and the resolution of the image, it only sat in the middle of the layout. So there was no way to display it as a background until I set the scale type for this image. Now that basically it kind of is what it sounds like. You set how you want the image to scale when you see it in the app. I set the scale type to center crop, which would crop the very center of the image in the shape of the device itself, which is, of course, we all know, a rectangle. So now when I show the app or when I build it, I should see the image in the same shape as the screen. After that, I ordered the views so that the new image would appear in the background, the two text views appear in the foreground, and now we have a nice friendly birthday card and we're ready to send it to our friends. Unfortunately, things did not go the way I thought they would. Everything was set up the way they described it on the website, but now every time I tried to launch the app, it crashed the emulator. I wasn't sure what was going on. I did everything the way I was supposed to, but it crashed anyway. So now I figure, okay, I saw an error about something to do with the name of the image view. So I thought maybe I should delete the image view from the layout and then try running it. And it worked. But I need the image view so I can use it as a background in the app. So I added it, I renamed it, I did everything that I could think of, and nothing worked. So I figure, all right, maybe if I delete this resource, this drawable from the project altogether and re-add it, then I'll get somewhere. So I go into the menu, I delete it, and I go to re-add the Android party PNG file, and it's nowhere to be found. Apparently, this picture was still hanging out in my downloads folder the whole time. So I copy it into the project directory right in the root, go back to Android Studio, import the drawable, and sure enough, it appeared just as it was supposed to. So that was it. After that, I did the same thing. I set the constraints to 0 dp so that it would touch the borders of the layout. Set the scale type to center crop so that we could see the birthday cake thing in the background. And I moved it ahead of the 2 text views so that or below them, so that the 2 text views would render on top of it and it would be used as a background. Who would have thought that having a file outside of the project directory was the issue the whole time? So now I felt kind of silly because, this whole time I thought, oh yeah, I'm following the directions exactly as they said. And for whatever reason, maybe my Android Studio is glitching. Maybe I need to update it or something. I don't know. But I was still able to add an image view, move it, set the constraints, move it and rename it and do all types of stuff. But because it wasn't in the same directory as all the other project files, it never rendered. And trying to use it in the app would cause the app to crash. Not the emulator, just the app when I'm running it. I'm at a loss for words here. I mean, it was so simple. All I had to do was make sure that I moved it to the right folder in the first place. But then I wouldn't have learned that Android Studio allows you to still import external files into your project. You just can't use them or see them. Well, now we know. So, the lesson to be learned from all this. If you're working in Android Studio and you're setting up your layout, then any drawables or resources or anything that you're importing, make sure that you start by moving them into the root of your project directory or some folder, some subdirectory, as long as it's in the same directory as your project files. This way, when Android Studio goes to pull that information in and you can create drawables or whatever you want to make to add into your layout, it has it right there. In fact, now that I'm thinking back, I had not seen a request to add the Android Party PNG file to my Git directory until now. So I can't recall ever, when you work in a project and you have set up version control for that directory with Git, you should, whenever you add a new file using Android Studio, if you create a new file, create a new directory, anything, or even importing a file, it'll prompt you to add that to Git. This way, next time you do a commit, it includes that file. And once I added the image, that was the first time I can remember seeing a prompt to add the file to Git. So, I guess that one was on me. But either way, everything still worked as expected. The last thing I did was I created some custom strings to replace the hard-coded strings in the activity main XML file. So originally I had added the happy birthday message and the to whoever from codingfanatic, all that stuff, even the name and description of the image view, all of those were hard-coded strings. But by going into the strings.xml file in the res folder, I could create some custom strings and then just call those from the activity main XML file. So that's pretty much everything. Now that I know how to add images, set them as backgrounds, it'll make styling my apps a lot more fun. I can kind of play around with some things. And for those of you who have been following along my journey, you'll know that I'm working on a new app, the Daily Inspiration app, which lets you it shows you inspirational quotes when you open the app. It's still in its infancy, but now we can do something like this for this project. So we can add an image in and use that as a background with relative ease. As a matter of fact, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Or even better yet, for those of you watching this right now, I will live stream that section of the image, adding the image as a background. I'll do that in my next live stream. I'll announce on Twitter when that will be. For now, I'm going to start a poll. I'm going to show you guys some pictures that I've found and let you guys pick which image you want. And ultimately, if no one says anything, I'm just going to pick one myself and go with that. But I want to hear from you guys. Which of these photos you want to see as the background in the daily inspiration app, which shows you quotes each day. Goodness. I'll figure out how to do a poll or something. I'll either post it on YouTube or Twitter. Either way, you'll hear from me. You'll hear it from the horse's mouth. So yeah, that was it. I figured out how to add an image, how to manage the files so that everything gets imported properly, and instead of hard coding strings, using the string to XML file to create custom strings that I can call in from anywhere. And yeah, that's about it. So that being said, thank you all again for tuning in to the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. I'm your host, Richard. If you like content like this, then join the mailing list at codingfanatic.com. Like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like this content, leave me some feedback in the box below. If you guys want to see the code for for my version of the Happy Birthday app, I'll leave a link in the description below. And yeah, stay tuned on Twitter to see when I announce that poll for the photos and everything like that. So with all that being said, thank you all again so much for tuning in. This is your host, Richard Clark, signing out, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.